Greetings and welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a sometimes funny trying to be smart podcast covering all things new and classic Trek. I should have been a librarian. I am your Captain Mariah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have
Fate, Mariah, fate. Paul Sataja here, everyone. Hey,
indeed Paul and I are in the same place. We could high five each other from across a
move
house. Ready?
across the room.
One,
One,
two,
two,
three.
three. Oh,
Boop.
wait this way.
Yeah, no, that way.
One,
Boop,
two, one, two.
boop, boop,
Okay.
boop, boop,
Boop,
boop, boop. There we
boop,
go. Paul's in Texas hanging out, and Clyde is stuck in a shuttle that is just running a few minutes late, so he shall be joining us very soon as we kick off our discussion about season 2 of Star Trek the animated series, The Pirates of Orion, which was directed by Bill Reed. All of the series was directed by Bill Reed, written by Howard Weinstein. It premiered September 7th, 1974, as well as Beam, which was written by David Bem by David Gerald, which was the following weekend. But first, some reminders. You can listen, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. All the links are at StarTrekPod.co. And you can come hang out with us over on Patreon and get access to our community Slack. I saw someone new joined. I'm going to get you signed up, I promise. And I will send you over all of the Slack information. So excited to have you. Thanks for joining us. And Paul, how can people hang out and participate if they're joining us via the live stream on YouTube?
Well, if you're on the live stream and you want to say something to us, you could just type in pod, and we will see it, and we will bring it up, and we will discuss, and it will be so amazing, and you'll be like, oh my god, they saw me. Yes, we did.
And it could be Star Trek questions. It could be hot dog related questions.
All right. Remember, this is our sister pod, Hot Dog Talk. Still can use some Patreon subscribers as well.
It's running strong.
Yep.
And Chippy beat us to the punch with her pod signal. Strange New Worlds is debuting on July 17th. Very exciting. I'm excited to get there. I'm excited for some new Trek content. Paul, how are you feeling about this news?
I am very excited. I'm glad there's a date. In the olden days, when I was young and dinosaurs were roaming the earth, I used to schedule my my year through movie premieres. I go oh well, this movie is coming out this month, and there used to be a website, I can't remember what it was called, but had all the movie trailers and all the movies that would come out, and I go okay, this is weekend, blah blah blah. Now it's basically TV shows.
Yeah.
Movies are okay, well, it's gonna come out when it comes out. If I miss it, I'll see it in 2 weeks when it's on Max anyway.
Oh, I know.
But TV shows, so here's Hacks here, and July 17th. I'm pretty excited.
It's gonna be great.
I just need to see what happens after the Gorn being beamed up.
I know
our pals. And will is the captain's girlfriend gonna turn into a Gorn? She was bit.
Who knows?
Or spit on or whatever. I do feel that once you get you get spit on the arm, if you just chop off your arm, you'll probably be okay. And you're in the future, they grow you new limbs.
That's true. I've heard that it's possible.
So just hold it on for one more day.
Much like Spock in our premiere episode.
Pod. Oh.
Okay. If Bem was a hot dog, would he eat himself? I guess because he can burst himself into separate parts. It's an interesting quandary. What if his torso was hot dog?
Yeah, no. I think the answer is sure. Why not?
I think if he thought he was bad at what he did, he would potentially eat himself.
He would decolonize.
Clyde.
Yeah, and so what do you think, Clyde? It's I think some people are very heated about this. So what do you think? I think we need your perspective.
Yeah.
If Bem was a hot dog, would he eat himself?
Yes.
I mean, I think that depends on what condiments were available.
This is a solid quandary.
That's true. That's That's a 5 pickle answer.
I mean, and the
5 out of 5
question is,
pickles.
5 out of 5 pickles.
and I think the question is, where is your stance on relish as a condiment? Like, I mean, I think that all plays into the question of whether or
Relish
not he would.
is a strange thing. It is both a condiment and a salad.
I guess
Okay.
you're technically right. It is just
People don't look at it that way, but relish is a
don't.
salad.
I mean,
And when
there's
you
a
put
lot of things you could consider a salad.
So what you're telling me is a hot dog that has relish on it is a balanced meal.
well, you got bread, you got
You
grains,
you got protein, fat, carbs,
Yeah.
and like
And the vegetables and
and a
salad.
vegetable.
so like like you're not gonna I'm not gonna say you're not gonna
The
beat that, but
balanced meal.
I'm not gonna beat that.
I'm just so when I talk to my nutritionist in a few weeks, I can say, hey, I've been eating salads.
No,
Like
Clyde,
regularly.
100%. Like
Yeah.
you say that. I think we put on the Slack. What Clyde nutritionist said about having here's my hot dog. I eat one every day. It has my meat, it has my grains, it has my salad. What I relish.
Maybe too much salt, but I think with the said amount of salt, it is now time for some
V-neck.
hot V-neck on that hot frags. Okay, what did y'all think of our first 2 episodes of season 2? Let's start with you, Clyde.
Better. Like I watched it and was like, oh, this is better. There were still some of the things that were bothering me. Like, really? We can't find anybody else in the room to do some voiceover. All of the voiceovers have to be done by these 5 people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
You
like,
mean you
oh,
didn't
look,
believe that other bridge crew wasn't Sulu?
I mean, and then you've got the voice of God. I mean, it's cool the God's a woman on this planet.
Super dope that it's Nichelle Nichols. I'm into it.
I'm just saying again, like I was like, oh, like if it had been anybody else in the room, I'd have been like, oh man, that's a disembodied voice. But I'm like, all I'm thinking is, am I the only one who doesn't know? Man, that voice sounds a lot like Uhura. What's going on? So
You could even put some reverb on that.
a little, right?
A little pitch
auto-tune?
shift, just a little pitch shift, you know.
I
could
mean, a
sped it
little
up, you could
auto-tune goes a long way.
You could have done a lot of things with that. Even the 74, you could have done a lot of stuff with that.
That being said, I thought the first episode was really interesting.
The Pirates of Orion.
Yes. But I'm like, you've got a new spaceship, you've got like intrigue. I was like, okay, they've upped their game. This didn't feel like a retread of a regular episode. And then the third episode, I was like, again, I was thinking in my head, I was like, Mariah's gonna love New Aliens.
I do love New Aliens.
So all in all, I thought, okay, this season is starting off better than the first season. I still question why this is for kids, and it made me.
You mean you didn't like the math lesson?
Yes,
I mean, 4 is more than 3.
That's like there's got to be a way. What if we got a ship? Yes, that's what we should do. We should get another ship to.
Well, and then I was trying to figure out with this other crew what was going on with the emblems on their shirt. I was just what?
Very like
what's happening?
Well,
Art Nouveau, Art Deco style palm patches.
Before Picard's time, like each ship had its own insignia, and so only after some whatever they unified it to the Enterprise one. So that actually was pretty canon.
And
see how no one cares about
Paul
that?
Bomb. That's Paul Bomb.
I go, hey, here's that thing, and all of a sudden people are like, go away.
Yeah. To Choopy's point, the first episode is a lot going on for Saturday morning: sickness, death, suicide. Like,
see, Choopy's with me. Choopy's like I'm looking at this and going, I'm fascinated by this, but oh yeah, this is a lot for kids.
Like or Orion was trying to cyanide pill himself.
Like you don't, the kids gotta learn.
and
They
blow
gotta
himself
learn.
like
This is the first instance of it, so then they're ready for that Cold War chapter in their history textbooks,
I mean, can we
which was actively not even the Cold War was actively going on at the time of this.
can we address the fact that it literally he was going to commit suicide and blow himself and someone else up?
Okay,
I'm just like, this is kind of like an after school special on a Saturday morning. Like there needed to be more debrief about this.
let's hold our horses. Okay, so now imagine you're a kid in the 70s, and
You're having to duck and cover.
you have all that stuff, but like you learn in the course of a normal thing about quicksand, where here's the ground that eats you, and you're like, okay.
Have you seen those TikToks that
True.
talk about how, like, as kids, we were so convinced that one of the greatest threats to life as adults was going to be quicksand?
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
true.
and so
That is true.
and so it'd be terrifying. Like, hey, all right, just so you know, you walk outside, you be careful because the ground can consume you. Excuse me, Paul.
And this one is like, please be careful if you're ever trying to find your friend's life-saving medicine. A suicide bomber could come and get you.
But you see how they're all just like, to a kid, it's all just the same. It's like, oh,
good, bad, life, death.
Ground eat you, suicide pill. Have to eat my vegetables before I eat my. They're all the same thing. They're all just growing, just learning. So I believe that. I believe that like it was appropriate. Suicide pill, like it's so quick.
It was so quick. Yeah, I did like the sort of tension tete-a-tete that was set up being like, we don't have any of the things you think we stole, and then they're like, oh, actually, and also we can't destroy your ship. Like the Orions had like no upper hand in any of this.
No leverage.
Beyond
Zero leverage.
Just the threat of destruction.
That threat they were going to execute. They're gonna blow up the whole
their own ship. Yeah.
Their whole idea is we can't beat the Enterprise, and if anybody finds out what we've done, our whole species is gonna be in trouble. So as a result, we'll just kill everybody.
So like
we never existed.
So by the sheer fact that like they're willing to do that, like there's a certain nobility about that. I'm not saying. But
I don't know that that's the word I would have used, but keep going.
Well,
but
I was going to just say it's interesting that he essentially says like our kind, like any failed mission is a suicide mission. It's like if you hit failure, you're not supposed to learn from failure. You're just supposed to die.
Yep. And this is where Chupi puts it up. She says it's right there. Like, I think the Blue Orions were pretty noble in this episode, but like in general, or like they're a bunch of doofuses.
There's a reason the Green Orions think the Blue Orions are doofuses.
Like they can't even say Orion right.
No. I do love that Lower Decks was able to expand the canon of these characters, and
the bunch of dummies, and it's fine. And I love like the more I dive into this series, the anime series, the more I realize how much license Lower Decks did in picking things.
Oh, totally. I mean, speaking of which, we can hop over to Bem. Bem, which was so funny. What's his full name? It made me giggle every time they said it. Ari Bem. It just sounds like it was meant to be like a tongue twister for kids. Like, oh, did you see Honorary Commander Ari Bem? He was very silly. I fully forgot about the Lower Decks character from the Borg simulator episode. I think just because it felt less wild in the world of Lower Decks, and then when this Bem detached himself while standing in the water, I truly was gobsmacked. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. The tri-body tricksters, to quote Mariner, quoting
tri-body tricksters, indeed.
This is the episode, or these series of episodes are what people use when they're trying to explain why you need like a children's education consultant on children's shows. They're like, why do I need you as a consultant. And they're like, well, let me show you some episodes. And then did you know that these were targeted to kids on Saturday mornings? And they're like, all right, what's your rate again? You're hired. Like,
I don't know, man.
I mean, this one was really about you have to think a problem all the way from beginning to end. And if you can be short-sighted about it, you're going to make mistakes, but mistakes don't make or break you as a person. You should learn from those mistakes.
and
So
yet again, we have another person trying to kill themselves because they failed. What
well,
is
yeah.
happening?
And
Like-
every episode they stop a suicide. So in reality, Star Trek is telling you to intervene at every step to stop your friends from killing themselves.
I don't know. I feel like these stories are just one off from like Bluey stories. I mean, like maybe these are basically Bluey stories, but not in an Australian accent.
No. No, I think what these episodes are missing is a hotline number to pop up on the screen or
if you have felt
thing.
like them, please
right.
call this number.
Exactly. That's what you need.
The thing that also made me laugh though was looking at like the weird little cages that the dino children put them in.
Yeah.
And like how easy those looked to just tip over. There was no floor in those cages.
Yeah. You can just
Right.
lift it up.
I mean, if you leaned hard enough on them, they probably would have. I mean,
That's
though
what I'm
the
saying.
funniest line in the entire episode was Kurt going, "Why do we always end up here?"
Fake Clyde. It's fate.
And that felt like because it was so genuinely funny to me. I was like, oh, is this something that he just said offhandedly in the voiceover session as he's reading what's going on in the script and being like, why do we always end up here? I don't know. To me, that would make me laugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben was such an interesting little character for them to try to grab a hold of. I did think it was like, I mean, another thing when you're like, man, the signs of the times when they were just like the way they referred to the indigenous population of the planet as like potentially like
Dangerous
aboriginals, like all
Yeah.
of these things when I'm just like, well, they're just like people trying to defend themselves from strange creatures and you are
Right.
the strange creature. Like
I was thinking, wow, so this explains so much of our policy on like exploration. This is what happens. You show up and you're like, hey, this is a dangerous place. Get your weapons ready.
Yeah, I thought it was wild that like the choices of and actually interesting commentary of like we have to send down a search party, get the rifles ready, or like the the omnipresent godlike entity that's essentially like you need to leave because you have weapons. But then like as soon as they come down, Kirk's like, well, make all of your weapons just like low grade stun. And I'm like, you
shoot
guys,
everyone.
but then they shoot everyone. And I'm like, you guys can't figure out any other way to like not get speared to death. Like to the point of like when Mariner talks about like, we're in the future, you're not going to die from a spear. You know what I mean? Like,
facts.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well,
like the spears are rough.
I do think that what was interesting to me about this episode, and I was thinking, Star Trek really missed a marketing and branding, like a merchandising opportunity. Because now I was thinking I could just see the toys where you've got the little action figures of the Star Trek crew and dinosaur warriors. Like kids would eat that up. Like that was a perfect merchandising opportunity, and it just you could have went a little farther with it.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the like alien creature, like non-humanoid creatures in the animated series in particular could be kids' toys, like the weird pink, like flying things we've gotten before. We've had so many dinosaur looking creatures over and over again, which like, I think when we were talking about last season, I talked about, oh, why aren't there more like dinosaur like creatures if Earth started out with dinosaurs, of like what crawled out of the magma oozing ocean to become the next set of creatures. It's just very interesting. Anyway, so I like when they have that, but I did like that these ones were togas. I was like, oh, they've already,
because they're modest
they're
Mhm.
modest, but that also infers they feel shame, which is very interesting since
or
the,
cold.
I guess it could be cold, but it didn't look very cold.
Yeah, it was a jungle.
It
So
was a jungle. I'm just saying, it's interesting when the omnipresent being is like, hey, like you guys got to get out of here and take away your standards and thoughts
mm.
because you're influencing my children. But in reality, she's already influenced her children to feel shame because they're having to wear clothes.
Yeah, no, that's
You,
a trademark of evolution. Feel bad about yourself, which we're trying to teach the kids with the suicide stuff, and yet like there are all these people who are like, this is too heavy. He goes, it's not too heavy. Quicksand.
Quicksand and cyanide pills. Welcome to Quicksand and Cyanide Pills,
That's
a
right. Like,
podcast discussing suicide representation in children's cartoons.
but here's the thing. I think that, growing up in a generation where you were always worried about quicksand taught you important life lessons, right? Like if you find yourself in quicksand, don't thrash around. It'll just make you sink faster. Like these are important things to know, right? Look for a friend who has a vine. That's not a snake, but a vine that can toss you
So
to you and
often
you'll
a
be
snake,
okay.
though.
It's so often a snake. It's so often a snake. But like these are these are lessons that how would any of us survive without knowing these things?
well, see,
right?
Life
and
lesson.
here's like not to smash on like the younger generations, but like here are generations who are raised without the lessons of quicksand, and here's where we are. We're having some problems. Like they don't know that you you can't just grab any old vine. They don't know to be careful
I
about
They-
the land. It's like we've let them down. This is not on them. This is on us. This is on us.
I
We go like we had the quicksand lessons, and then we go like, hey, there's no quicksand out there. We can skip these lessons, and look what's happened.
you know what else I realized about this generation? Not only do they not know about quicksand, they don't really know about ninjas either. Like
Oh,
ninjas were very prominent, and they didn't know that you too, as an American, especially as a white American, you can become a ninja, right?
I
Like
mean,
these
as a turtle, you could become a ninja.
as a pizza eating ninja. Like
I
there's
mean, they
all
do
these
have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
they do, and I have a child that is curiously fascinated by them. I mean, he's not obsessed by them like
Has
we
he
were,
watched
but
the puppet version, like the
it's a
giant,
puppet version.
the live action?
Oh, okay.
no,
It's live action. Yes, but I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah,
meant
but they're
I thought
in.
you meant hand puppets.
No, no, no,
that's
no.
what I was
Just
thinking too. No, I think today's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a little creepy, but that's just me.
As
I
Bradley,
liked the
you know,
animated one.
I'm gonna say this: they should be creepy. They're mutated turtles
They are
that have
mutated
martial
turtles.
arts skills with bladed weapons, and this is not okay. This is worse than quicksand, guys. Okay, back to Star Trek, everyone.
Okay. That's what we need, though. We need a Star Trek Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover.
Oh,
Man,
that could be true. That'd be true.
that would be great.
Uh, like like I guess with like the Orion one or Orion one.
Hmm.
I think what like this is like the second or third time that they've had those like suits that are just made of energy.
Yeah, it's interesting
Yes,
that didn't carry over at all.
Yeah, because like that's a handy ass tool.
That it's just like
I
a force
mean,
field.
Yeah,
that
like
would have been so much fun.
it, I like it's like you could do it. It's so much easier to
It's
deal
because
with.
we now have real science advisors on Star Trek.
But yeah, absolutely. But I also feel like that would ruin one of my favorite scenes in a Star Trek movie, and that is Worf with like a cord tied around his
Oh, that's right.
suit
That's right.
and mag boots. Like that was a great scene. And if
Yeah.
they had just energy shields, then that scene
The
doesn't
Borg
make any
wouldn't be able to
sense.
do that.
No, like
Yeah.
like
I get it. I get it. I get it.
that's
It does take it, I think, from the realm of like magic to science, right? And I think like as a kids show, the idea of just an energy force field, well, one, it's way easier for them to animate those cells because they don't have to change the cells per
Sure.
character. Um, and then 2, like for kids, I do think it's more fun to think of things as being magical rather than having to be practical.
Yeah, but they missed the key piece. Is like for kids, like I feel like they just showed up with energy shield. You
Yeah.
need the moment where they click the button on the belt to turn on the energy shield. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then like that's the cool part.
Mhm.
They completely like skipped over the coolest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, another place to sell toys. You get those energy belts.
Oh man,
Well, then
you
could you
sell a whole
imagine?
bunch of energy belts.
Yeah, although then can you imagine all these kids like running and trying to like jump off of roofs and into pools because they're like, I'm wearing my energy belt.
Facts.
I don't know.
Somebody was like,
man.
"You can't punch me."
Yeah.
Oh, have I ever told you this story about kindergarten and how I shot someone in the eye? No. So,
welcome to Paul's life.
so like just to go with the energy belt thing. So, like kids are dumb. I was no exception. And I was in kindergarten. I got one of those those guns that shoot darts. Like plastic darts.
A Nerf gun?
No. This is like plastic darts. So like you shoot it and like
Yes.
it's a
It
suction cup.
sticks to- yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. So there was a web shooter one, that I had as a kid. And so one day in kindergarten, like I brought this for show and tell, and we were playing superheroes, and then
Mhm.
like those half sphere jungle gym kind of things, like like kids climb up
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Used to have one in my backyard. Yep.
So I we're playing superhero. Then a fifth grader goes like, "Oh, I'm a bad guy," blah 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 blah, and all my friends go, "Oh no, it's a bad guy." They all run away, and I go, I'm in the center of the sphere. I go, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." And pew! I shoot my web shooter into his eye, and then he goes like ah. He just starts walking around the playground with his hand on his eye, trying to
So
find my and then my kindergarten teacher goes, "Hey Paul, come here. You can't
so
no more."
I've always wondered what was the genesis of the phrase "you'll shoot your eye out" came from.
Sure.
Now I know.
No,
Yeah.
you
Now I know.
shoot your eye out would be a Christmas Story. This is like Paul will shoot your eye.
All will shoot your eye.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just me.
Yeah. So from these 2 episodes, what do you think is something children took away from them?
That's right. Like I think like as a kid you'd watch this and I think that you would say, "Oh, well, on the first one, you gotta be a good guy. Good guys win. And it sucks to be blue. Don't be a blue. Don't be blue. And don't steal."
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I think in the second one, it's like like dinosaurs, are people too,
Mm.
and like oh, that guy's gross. That's because he can break up to 3
Them.
pieces. That's gross. That's gross.
Yeah. Interesting.
Failure is okay, maybe.
Like, do you think a kid would really get that? I know that's what adults could get from it, but I don't.
But I think it's almost like a marketing tactic, right? Like you have to sort of imprint an idea a certain amount of times for someone to take it away. And essentially both of these episodes are about how even if you fail, you shouldn't kill yourself. And then ultimately also that you are supposed to learn how to grow from these trials and tribulations, right?
I don't know, but it's always the not Spock character, not Kirk character, not McCoy character that has to learn. I never put myself,
always.
but I never put myself in the other, the weirdo's position.
Well, yeah, because you'd be like, "Oh, I would save the day. I
That's
would
right.
save my friends."
That's
like,
right. I'm the Kirk character here. I'm the Spock character. I'm the McCoy character. Let's face it. I'm never McCoy. No one ever picks McCoy. You're either Spock or you're Kirk. Those are the two. So let's be clear about that.
Or it's when Sulu is sword fighting and you are Sulu.
I don't know. Like, do you know Sulu? I don't know. I don't know one Sulu. Like, I'm a Spock. I'm not a Kirk. But like, do you know a Sulu? I don't know a Sulu.
I mean, if I know a couple people that are Scotties and wouldn't
Yeah.
mind being an
Mhm.
animated Scotty because that dude is buff.
Yeah, no.
He just walks around with the muscle chest, like
Yes,
yes,
yeah,
Captain.
like, but I'm just saying that there are no McCoys and there are no Sulus. But like that's a heavy assertion. I guess my question is like,
I feel like there is those ones because it's similar to, I don't know if you all had this phase or if it is just growing up like socialized as a young woman, young girl, is you pick your favorite boy band member.
Uh-huh.
And often there's the one everyone thinks you're going to pick. Like everyone thinks you're going to pick Justin.
Yeah.
But in fact, you're more of a JC or a Lance kind of gal.
It's
And then
gonna be
every
me.
once in a while, and you never think anyone's going to pick Joey or Chris. You're like, no one's picking Joey or Chris. And then those people do exist.
Okay.
I mean, I do have a favorite Spice Girl and a Pussycat Doll, so
Same.
maybe.
I mean, I always got stuck, usually, not unfortunately, she's great, but I was always Scary Spice just because I have big curly hair.
I mean, Scary Spice is my favorite, but mainly because Mel B is fine. Like
She's a beautiful woman. I always wanted to be Sporty Spice, and I think that says a lot about how I ended up in my sexuality.
I mean, I was like, you can keep the rest of the Spice Girls, and now that I'm an F1 fan, was it Ginger Spice is very weird to me, but
well, tell me
You
what
mean
you want.
you don't
I
like
mean,
watching her on the Formula One Netflix show where she's just riding a horse with her really rich Formula One Red Bull team husband?
And he's a monster.
Jerry. Yeah, he's a monster.
And then
Fine, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want.
And then Mel B dated Eddie Murphy, which is weird, but yes, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yes, I get what you're saying. Like you
choose. So there's definitely people who are Sulus, who are McCoys, you know. I think especially after Star Trek 2009, I think that was such a smart rehab of those characters.
See, here's the thing. Like if you're saying there is a phenomenon where you engineer a boy band, a girl band, and in those 5 people, you get the majority of the bell curve. I agree with you. I don't know if Star Trek does that. I feel like they invested very heavily on the Spock and the Kirk and the McCoy. Don't misunderstand me. I like McCoy, but I don't know anyone who goes like, "Oh, I relate to McCoy." I like Sulu. I don't know anyone who goes like, "Oh, I want to be Sulu."
Do you think? Okay, so I agree, Paul. I agree with you that I don't feel like they did that with the original series.
Sure.
But do you think they did that with the Next Generation? Like when you think about their key cast, are there people?
Do you know any Tasha? Do you know any?
I mean,
I
did know some Tashas. I mean,
who would pick Tasha? Yeah. I know people who pick Worf. I don't know many people who pick Tasha. But
I don't know many men who would pick Tasha. But I know little girls who would be like, "You're talking about a tough girl." Because if you look at them,
great, love it.
Her and Deanna were polar opposites.
Let's see, who would I? I think it's a better blend. I think there's more people for everyone. I think you got Jody, you got once he became engineer, like before engineer, he was
there's definitely a lot of LaForges. There's definitely a lot of Worfs. I think there's a ton of Deannas. I feel like there's so many Rikers. Like every Boimler wants to be a Riker.
And I think you even have some data. Some people who feel like they're just very, very analytical. Yeah,
my wife's data. So I was saying Justin Ray did a better job. Do we know any Beverleys?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. You know people who would pick Beverly as their favorite Star Trek character.
Yeah. I feel like most of the gals over on like the Dura Sisters podcast would pick a Beverly.
Okay, great. Love it.
Yeah. Dura Sisters.
Yeah. No, I think they did a good job. I think of that expansion of like being able to see different archetypes that you can kind of hold on to.
And guys, if I'm wrong, our podcast, if you think like
sound off in the comments. Tell
that's
Paul.
right. Like if you know McCoy, if you're a McCoy, let us know.
Let us know if you're a Sulu. Let us know. And I will say, there's definitely a lot of Ahuras.
Sure. Like
yes,
just let us know, and
I wouldn't say every. Most Black women who like sci-fi and are Trekkies identify with the horror.
Sure.
Totally.
Just type in like Paul is wrong.
Hashtag cancel Paul.
That's right.
There you go. No,
I'm learning.
I thought that was an interesting question. Because I feel like they put together a group for the original series, but now everything is, I think, much more deliberate.
Yeah,
I think they're creating characters now that people can identify with. Whereas I think with the original series, they were just trying to make a story that they thought was good.
Yeah, no, that's my point.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah,
I'm the bad guy.
We're not trying to say you're a bad guy, Paul. We're just expanding the conversation.
No, I'm saying it. I'm literally saying I'm the bad guy.
Okay, great. Well, everyone tell Paul he's the bad guy. Hashtag cancel Paul.
But I think that makes sense. I think the movies, the Abrams verse movies, the Kelvin verse movies, do a much better job of having the cast.
100%. I bet there are Abram McCoys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because one, Keith Urban is just cool.
Carl Urban's cool too.
Sorry, Carl. Yes. Keith Urban is probably a little cooler than Carl Urban, but and I'm a huge John Cho fan, so
do y'all remember the era where they were cast John Cho in everything? They were everyone would post all the stuff with him. Anyway,
that was
fun times when Twitter was nice.
I was like, I love John Cho, and then he showed up in everything, and I was like, okay, I love him, but this is a lot. He's everywhere.
Hopefully he comes back. He's great.
Yeah.
Anything else on these 2 episodes, y'all?
No, I was just I really appreciate them recording in the same room. Or at least it seems like they're talking.
There's some more
actors.
banter, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that helps production value. Mm-hmm. I feel in some ways that it's a little more, at least both of these 2 episodes, very much more explainy of here the math problem. What do you do? It's 4 days away. We got to find a way. But what if we do this? Yes, that's the answer. That's very Thomas the engine kind of.
Yeah, if the train is going this many miles per hour and it's gonna, when will it hit the train station?
So I think they took the Clyde's note, temporally. They go, oh well, there's gonna be a guy who's gonna say this isn't for kids. Let's make it for kids.
I mean, the second season is the one that won the kids Emmy. So
is it?
Mm-hmm.
The BEM?
Without the hotline number at the end.
I don't know what episode specifically. I could try to look it up, but I know they won an Emmy during the second season.
Cool.
I think that the dialogue between McCoy and Spock in the last few episodes just gets better. It's probably one of my favorite things about this. And dare I say, I don't remember the dialogue being the banter being as good in any other Star Trek. It's just kind of funny. It's usually where I know I'm gonna laugh because they're just they've done a really good job. That's to me the best part of the show.
Not to harp on this, but does anyone ever have a problem with McCoy always bringing up race when it comes to Spock? You damn green blood.
I mean,
you pointy eared, blah blah blah.
Some Zionism towards Vulcans, yeah.
You blah blah blah.
We're not Zionism, xenophobia.
That's right. And so he seems not cool about that.
It does come across as someone who you've got this relationship with somebody who's a different background, and therefore you say all these things, and it's almost like McCoy's going, no offense, and then he says it,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Um,
He's pretty passionate about that stuff.
well, what
Like-
I'm saying is like you can tell he cares about Spock, but then he says these things that are just kind of offensive all the time.
Like all the time. And like, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying I'm judging, the
Feels a little
past
judgy.
on my morals of today. But this takes place in the future, people.
Right. One would
So,
think you'd be a little bit more open-minded.
but maybe that's not the way we go.
Maybe it's just not the way he grew.
That's right.
Right.
Not the way he grew.
Oh man, you can make like a McCoy like backstory of like
Being raised in like a backwoods, like
that's right. And, like there are these just Vulcan gangs that would just like
he was tormented with these like tales of really wild Vulcans, terrible Vulcans his whole life, and these lies were spun to him, and then he was sold that lie, and then now has this deep-seated prejudice.
I love it. I like it. It's called McCoy. I love it. I love it. This would be a great this would be a great short. It'd be I love
fiction
it.
at its best. Right there,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make a short
Right,
about McCoy.
write it down. Write it down. The
That's right.
McCoys. Very Hatfield of you. Okay, y'all. Well, we will actually we're gonna be off next week for the live because I have a live taping of another podcast at a theater. So if you're in the LA area, you can come join us. It is at the UCB at 5:30 p.m. for a taping of One of Us with Chris and Finn. It's a really fun part improv, part interview podcast. Please join us if you can. It should be a good time. And do y'all have anything else you want to promote?
Yes, and also we are talking about going to
Vasquez Rocks
Vasquez Rock on Saturday. So if you're in the LA area and you want to hang out, how should we let people know?
They can hit us up on Slack. This will be Saturday, May 24th. We are making plans for Vasquez Rock, so let us know if you'd like to join.
Assuming that it's not 120.
Yeah, if it's too hot, we might come up with an
alternative. Assuming it's not as hot as Vulcan. Boom, 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 boom. Pointy eared, green blooded. Boom, boom, boom.
All right, we gotta shut it down.
I heard you guys hit triple digits in Austin, Mariah. So don't bring.
We did 107 yesterday.
Do not bring that heat with you. Just saying.
I will try my best. Can't make any promises, but what I can promise is that we will be back not next week, but the week after. We'll talk about episodes 3 and 4, and we'll be gearing up for our Strange New Worlds coverage starting in July. Until next time, y'all, live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Matasha.